Hi, I'm Brand Lokits, and this is Banking on Intelligence, a thought leadership series by nCino. Today, I'm joined with Mr. Anthony Morris, our Chief Industry and Innovation Officer. Anthony, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So to just kind of dive straight into the conversation of today, maybe if you could give us a brief introduction to maybe your role at nCino and some of your journey through tech and banking.
Oh my gosh, it goes back a long time. I've engaged with well over 500 banks, and I have ridden a wave of technology change in banking over that period of time. And it just keeps getting more exciting, and it allows me, that sort of leads into my role, because it allows me to look across the industry from a global perspective. And it just keeps getting me excited about where the industry is going.
Well, that's a perfect segue into maybe my next question is, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing in the banking industry today?
The problem is that today you have a tectonic shift in what's going on in technology, which is obviously artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence obviously is based on data. And banking and financial services is a data business. So we've reached this pinnacle, if you will, where the massive amounts of data that banks hold on their customers and have access to externally, and is only increasing exponentially on both sides, can finally be channeled through a technology that can unlock it. So almost everybody understands this is a unique moment in time for technology, for data, and for the industry. The challenge is, I like to say, how do you rise to this tectonic shift in what's going on? And that is probably the singular biggest question that I hear. The implications of it are radical, because as everybody in the industry knows, the data that banks sit on and have access to it's a spaghetti, it's a mumbo jumbo, it's all over the place. It's in tons of different formats. It's difficult to get to. And in order to actually harness the power of different flavors of AI, you have to sort through it. So fundamentally, it's not a question of the what or the power of this point in time. It's really a fundamental question of, how do I traverse this data and AI bridge to achieve some of the outcomes which are really just gobsmacking for the industry? Period. And that's the common theme I'm seeing really everywhere.
Right. And so that's a really big question of how to manage all of that. And so it might be somewhat unfair in this format to ask you to answer that question, but maybe give us some insight from your perspective on maybe broadly, how can banking be better in light of all of these tectonic shifts that are taking place today?
Well, I think it's actually a really simple answer. So if one were to go back in time to when I was a teenager or in my early 20s, and banking was still very much the way it was for many decades. It was one-on-one with individuals. You had to physically go somewhere. They knew you. You trusted them. There was this expectation of them helping you, and they had the advice. And, even today, most people are sort of relatively immature or naive relative to managing their money. And, even if you're a small business or what have you. So the potential is to leverage the technology to reestablish that type of connection. I think it's the ability to get back to the experience and the relationship that existed 30, 40 years ago, and remove all of the obstruction that different technologies woven together have been put in place. We have a point where we can get rid of that obstruction, not tomorrow, it will take time, but remove it and put at the fingertips of everybody what they need to help their customers in as near real time, if not real time, if not before the customer even knows it. So that's sort of, I think, the opportunity for any financial services institution.
And it is interesting that it all comes back to a relationship. That's always been the stated focus. And this is creating an opportunity to maybe take that a step further.
But think about it, right? Like, nobody is really taught how to manage money, how to budget, how to invest, how to structure their finances. In a large corporation or even a commercial business, you have, individuals who that's their whole career and they bring that discipline, obviously, to the organization. But when you go down the food chain in small businesses and individuals, how many of us are literate in how to manage our money? What's the right borrowing scheme? How do I deal with all these changes in interest rates and these economic concerns and what have you? So despite all the tech and despite all of the promises of artificial intelligence, people still need someone they can trust, they can rely on, who can help them navigate their financial circumstance, whether it's I'm growing a business or, I'm having some financial hardship or stress or whatever it may be. That relationship is absolutely critical. I can't see technology taking that away. Yeah, for some small segments and maybe for some digital natives, but the vast majority of people and small businesses and even mid-sized commercial businesses, financial services firms need to be their partner. It's emotional. And until AI becomes emotional, are you going to trust a AI-generated version of me that's not the real me, right? So we still got a long way to go.
Back to that relationship piece, it's always going to be a part of it. So maybe to give us some insight as we're wrapping up into maybe your role and objectives at nCino, tell me a little bit about how you're powering a new era in financial services.
So what I'm trying to do is twofold. One, I'm trying to inspire and excite the market and our customers and those new individuals and organizations that we deal with to understand there is a better way to execute various processes. There's a better way to get closer with their customers. There's a smarter way. And it's not as much about the technology. It's about how you sort of embrace the technology to deliver on that better way. There have been, and like I said, I've been in this industry a long time, promise after promise after promise for the 35 some odd years I've gone from banking and into the tech world. And it's my role to not just show them promised land, but tell them and explain to them in practical terms how to unlock the journey to the promised land, right? It's basically a journey from, you can't continue to manage your business with like 30, 40, 50. Hell, I once dealt with a bank in England that had 3,000 systems, okay? So you have to, to get to that promised land, you have to go from a complex maze to something more consolidated. You have to go from, to a more simple environment. There's no, going down to one thing. That's not possible. But you can get to a series of platforms that are all open, where the data is shared, that the user interface is as simple as any app that you download and you just get it within 5 seconds, right? And again, removing the obstruction. So I like to get people excited. I like to get them inspired. I like to sort of discuss the pathway there and then have conversations with them about how would this work in your organization? And the goal is to basically pull them out of the day-to-day of the spaghetti maze and point them to a new future, show them how nCino can be a critical part of that. Not the full part, because that's that's not realistic, but a core part of that, right? And then set the conversation, the program, the vision, the strategy up for success by aligning back to us. And then our platform and everything that we do and everything that comes about our product organization and how we communicate it is basically backing that up. So I paint that incredible picture you see on a 10,000 widget jigsaw puzzle, right? And then all of our teams come in and they're like, here's how the pieces snap together. Here's how they snap together with some of yours. Here's how they snap together with some of ours. Here's how you put a coat on top of it. And ultimately, bit by bit, time over time, those pieces will snap together and you'll be on your way to this great new future. And it's exciting. I love it.
No, that is definitely exciting. Well, Anthony, thank you so much for your time. We definitely appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for joining us today. I'm Brand Lokits, and this has been Banking on Intelligence.